we literally started with a side hustle that was doing under $10,000 a month. That was how it was back in July 2019. And now we're doing well over $1 million.
And so you've taken your revenue in really a handful of years during the pandemic years as well, increased revenue by 2.2 times in the seven-figure mark. Profit has increased, I got here, by 1.4 times in that category as well. So hundreds of thousands of dollars in that space there. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm Deborah Harris. I am the CEO and founder of Grow Group, and we have a couple of different brands. One is Grow CFO, that's fractional chief financial officers, and the other is Direct Management, which is our bookkeeping solution that we use to support those fast growth businesses who are trying to grow and scale. It actually came about because we had an accounting firm for a great number of years. We'd been in the industry for 25 years. And in that time, we had a tax accounting practice. And a tax accounting practice is often about looking backwards at the numbers. And you get to the end of the year and you would say to the clients, here's your profit and loss for the year. Here's how much profit you've made. Here's your tax bill. Here's your invoice for our services. And you wondered why they weren't super delighted because they'd be sitting there thinking, well, if I made that profit, where the heck is the money? We just knew that it was something we wanted to change. We wanted to be known for changing that. And we found that the group of people that we had as team members in the accounting firm weren't the same group of people that we needed as team members to take that forward. So we carved out the CFO services out of the accounting practice, did a strategic exit of the accounting practice, and in July 2019 really rolled the CFO services into its own the main hustle, I guess.
So given your 25 years of being a business owner, if you had to write a headline for your journey so far, what would that be?
Fail fast, fail often, and get over yourself. That's pretty much it. I think it's around, we're really risk averse in the accounting profession. And so you find that people are very reluctant to take any kind of chances and they don't move until things are certain. But there's nothing certain. Our world is moving faster than ever. It's changing faster than ever. AI is changing everything that we do faster than ever. So if you're waiting for it to slow down and stop so that you can make a very well-informed decision, it's never, ever going to happen. So that's what I would say is just stay current.
Interesting, because if we look at the speed of change, people say, oh, there's been a heap of speed of change. Yet today is the slowest it's ever going to be. So it's interesting to go, this adaptability is super important. Speaking of adaptability, if you think of the whole journey you've been in business now, what was the darkest moment that you had in your business and what got you through?
We decided to leverage by growing our business, by scaling our business and acquiring another business. And we learned a lot of stuff in that process. And I'm not sorry that we did it, but at the same time, some of the learnings really bit hard. But if I had it to do over again, I would really check to see that the systems somewhat aligned and then really spend my time focusing on the people. But I'm a kind of systems girl, so I really like to focus on the systems, and I dropped my eye off the prize of making sure the people were happy. And so that was the darkest night for us because we ended up with a practice manager that wasn't ideal in our practice, caused a lot of friction, lost a lot of team, lost clients because of it. And we've had to be in a process of rebuilding and trying not to just keep kicking yourself over and over and over again for making a mistake, because we learned a lot more by making the mistake than we ever would have learned if it went perfectly.
So with that in mind, how do you think that's now set you up for the future?
It's enabled us to really help our clients who are going through mergers and acquisitions to do it in such a way that's super smart, but super smart about the people. And it's lent a lot of weight to that journey for us. So having done things not necessarily 100% effectively can sometimes be a really good selling point in our industry. But the other thing is that it's really made sure that we embedded good, strong systems so that at any point in time, if any team member changes, we've got the ability to recover.
If you went back before starting with Abundance Global. What was a week like for you then?
I remember it being quite lonely because Jeremy had a lot of peers, and there's actually not that many women in business who've got a business that's doing a sizable turnover. But it's just nice to feel that you can actually find a community that's inclusive, because that's not necessarily the case for most places. And so that was a really nice thing. We did have coaching, but a lot of the coaching was in an international group, and we didn't have that close connection with people, and they weren't in our time zone, or they weren't in our country. They didn't understand our context. They didn't understand our industry. So having a group of peers that we meet with on a regular basis, it gives us a few different things. It gives us the ability to not be lonely. That's a big thing.
Yeah, so interesting around that one there. What's the mindset chatter that goes on when you go, oh man, this problem, I don't think anyone's had this problem before?
So it's a confidence boost to have somebody else there who's done it, because you know that if they've managed to navigate it, there's tips and tricks that they can give you to get you through it too. If you just listen and observe and ask, they will more than generously tell you what they did, and most particularly what they did that failed, so that you don't have to have that same butt kicking moment for yourself.
So I like to call it the dumb tax. It's like you do something, you make a mistake, okay, that happens. But if you do it again, that's dumb tax. But if you can avoid it because you've heard someone else do it, then you can avoid the dumb tax altogether.
Yeah, I'm quite happy for me to learn from somebody else's dumb tax.
So you've been a member with us since 2021. I'm curious, what was it that made you reach out and go, I think we need to do something different here?
I've had business coaches for well over 10 years. And in the past, the coaches have been very much around what you needed to do next, what was coming up in the future. And there's a place for that, and there's a really strong place for that. But what we found was missing, and what we decided we wanted, was the who and the how coaching as well. The who and the how is really important, because it's fine to know what, but if you just keep adding more what, it's like putting more wood on your fire until either you have a flaming big bushfire, or you've suffocated your little kindling fire and you've stuffed it. So if you can't work out who you're going to bring in next and how to attract those people, including your team and including your customers and clients, and if you can't work out how to make that leverage in a way that makes sense and use the data to make that grow, then you're just throwing more fire on, and you're not ready to actually control that when it starts to light up.
With all that knowledge and all that experience, why is it that you still feel that this is such an important piece of the puzzle in the community that we've built that enables you to keep on scaling, keep on going?
It's the reason AI exists, right? Things never stay the same. So all the books you read, they're great, but they're retrospective. It's what's happened in the past. Right now, things are moving. They're moving super fast, and that's not written in a book yet. And by the time it is written in a book, it will be different. This is the difference, David, with the way Abundance Global coaches, is that it's not one person's opinion. It's a group of people plus a group of peers that are helping me to analyze and assess moment to moment in the current situation how I need to navigate to get me through and to get our business through successfully, because I sure as heck don't want to lose everything that I've worked for. And, you know, like I said, when you've got a big family, you've got the down tick goes down faster.
It does indeed. How's your family now feel that you're pulling in all this cash and you've got a business that's more leverageable?
I think the thing for us is that it's just what we can do then for the kids and for their. We're new grandparents, and we're just trying to help them set up their businesses and their lives together, and they're partnering up and they're getting married and all the beautiful things that happen in families. And we didn't want to be stressed about cash or pulling things out of the mortgage or all of that sort of stuff in order for us to actually support the family at this time. This is what we worked so hard for so many years, and we didn't want it to come unstuck now.
Tell me, in the 25 years that you've been in business or so, what have been some of the biggest shifts that you've made since you've been with Abundance Global, Deb?
We split our our chart of accounts into the engine rooms so that we can assess the return on investment of each piece of expenditure we have and to actually quantify and qualify how those engine rooms are going. So that was the first big shift, was to actually re-navigate the whole chart of accounts to be able to very deliberately check in on those KPIs and make sure that every part of the business had the key predictive indicators as well as the key performing indicators that we needed to make sure that it was successful. And we've been picking those projects off one at a time. And sometimes things happen and we don't get something finished, but we know that that we're intentionally checking in on a regular basis to see each part of the engine room and then assessing which part of the business needs to be fixed next. And I would think the thing that I most love about Abundance Global and the way the rhythm works is that rhythm, it's the heartbeat of the business. And so by checking in on the heartbeat of the business all the time, Mondays and Fridays, we're checking in. What are we intending to do this week? Have we done it this week? And then the next rhythm is the monthly rhythm, and then the quarterly rhythm, and then the annual rhythm. That rhythm is just, it's like your body telling you need to rest or need to go and eat or something like that. It's fundamental.
Yeah, it's so true, and I completely concur with that. What was it like for you without having that rhythm?
When you don't have the rhythm in your business, what happens is the squeaky thing gets heard and everything else just gets left until it becomes the squeaky thing. And sometimes that's people, sometimes that's the person who uses a particular system that whinges all the time. That might just be that person whinging. It may not actually need to be fixed, but you might need to fix the whinging, not the system, that sort of thing. So we found that it prioritized the wrong things. Before AG, we were putting a huge amount of effort in, and we were maybe putting the effort into the wrong things, putting a system in place before we really needed that level of system. And I'm a systems person, so for me, it felt comfortable to put a system in place, but that wasn't necessarily the right thing at the right time to have happen. Sometimes it needed us to focus more on sales, but we were so busy trying to solve the problem of how we would do the work that we weren't focusing on that. Before we started with AG, we had one of our big clients that was massively growing, massively expanding, and it was chewing all of our time. But we also had a really big key risk, which was that client. If that client left or that client didn't work, it was just a big problem for us. And so it was sucking all of our time, but we were almost feeling like employees.
Isn't that interesting? You've been in business as many years as you had, and you're putting all this effort out, and you feel like you're an employee. It's almost like you're the worst of both worlds. You got the worst of being an employee, and you got the worst of running all the responsibility, all the risk of running a business. So how does it feel to you now that you've put the structure into place in the business?
It's enabled us to really put together a capacity plan. And the capacity plan is, what are all the resources I'm going to need? And now I can actually see that for us. It's not just a services-based business. I can see the growth strategies to enable us to leverage. I can see where we need the trigger points that need to put on a new team member. I know then that I have to work back 6 weeks from that trigger point to start the hiring process. It's taking a lot of the unexpected drama out of it.
Yeah. Indeed, it's that saying that we've got that is boring is profitable and profitable is fun. But the thing is, though, profitable is fun. We also need to make sure that we bring more joy into it as well. Just because it's boring doesn't mean that we can't have joy as we go on that journey. So with that in mind, I'm curious for you to finish this sentence. I almost didn't become a member of Abundance Global because...
I probably would say because I thought I hadn't earned it. So we had a business that was turning over 7 figures, and then we went to a business that wasn't turning over 7 figures. And we got to the stage where we thought we should be able to work this out. We've done coaching before. We know what we need to do, but why isn't it working? Why aren't we doing it? And I think we felt like we hadn't earned our way in. We always think we can do a lot more than we can do in a period of time. We set ourselves very harsh timelines to do things, and then we fail and we go, oh my gosh, we didn't succeed. And then we don't ever look back at our successes. So I would say that was the main thing, was that we felt we hadn't done what we needed to do. And so there was a sense of failure about us at the time.
So that's actually quite an interesting point. because you've been winners in business for many, many years. So I'm curious, what was the turning point that you went, "Oh, actually, let's put that mindset shift away and let's actually reach out for some help"?
We had been coming to your events for quite some time, and we would just use that as an annual planning session, so that because it was different to the planning sessions we were doing with other businesses, which were very much more about sort of a big plan but not necessarily the detail, and I needed the detail for it to be successful. And so we came along to that, and we just said we can't keep doing the same thing. We're going to burn through all the cash from the sale of the business and not have reached where we needed to reach. So we had to do something different. We were really going to struggle if we didn't. Like I said before, we've got a big family, and with a big family comes big price tags. We had children that needed medical things and all sorts of stuff. So we had to do something different.
Interesting on that. Who would you recommend Abundance Global to, and why?
If you're wondering why some other businesses do really well and yours isn't, if you feel like you could learn from a community, if you are lonely and looking for peers, if your industry is facing significant upheaval and significant change, if you're wondering why other people attract the talent that you don't attract, if you're wondering what rhythm you should have put in your business so that you can actually check in on things, they're the sorts of business owners that I think can really do with having a fundamental set of guidelines and learning and a great set of assets and resources that you've got, and just tapping into the people, the peers, the coaches, all of the learning and the understanding that comes with that. I think they're the sorts of people that need to really take it to the next level. If you're wanting to scale in particular, if you're wanting to go, I don't want just a 2 times jump, I want a 10 times jump, then you need somebody who can see what you don't see.
Yeah. Gold, love it. What's the environment that we've created that's enabled you to really think differently around that, Deb?
I've always done a lot of research. I've always done a lot of critical thinking. I've done a lot of study in a lot of places. I've been very tech forward for a very long time. I like the fact that AG gives me the space to not only do that, but actually feel rewarded for doing it. And because sometimes you feel like it's just taking time. It's just sucking resources from your business because you're taking time out to learn things. And I would describe it as the difference between in, on, and above. Like, we talk about working in the business and even talking about working on the business, but we very rarely talk about working above a business. And working above a business is working as though you're an investor, and you're looking at it and you're going, well, in the next 3 to 5 years, I would actually shift my portfolio this way. You don't do that if you're just working out how are you going to make a 1% shift in your cost of sales. You don't do that because you don't need to do that. It's pretty easy to do that. You just hire a cheaper person.
So true. I agree. Oh, you nailed it. Oh, man, you've got some great pearls there. Deb, is there anything else that you'd like to add in?
And what I love most about the recent learnings that you've done, or the recent teachings from your group, is the boomerang principle, which is now feed it back to me to make sure that you understand it. That's gold, because the gold nugget that produces is that it solves the time issue in an interesting way. It enables you to check to see that they're not going down the wrong rabbit hole. So the feedback thing is really important. That's great. The boomerang stuff that one of your coaches, Lisa, said was just amazing.
That's gold. Beautiful. Hey, well, Deb, super proud of what you guys have done in such a short period of time, and to take the business from, where it was at the beginning to now well over $1 million and nice profit. And you only got to the starting line, which is super cool. But such a great member of the community. We appreciate you and Jeremy and everything you guys do, and also all the clients that you get to serve and really help them to have even better businesses. So thank you for everything you do. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you. And I very much appreciate what you do for us too. Thanks, David.